guys, Nurse J, Nursing the Truth. I'm on my series. Did Jesus really get crucified and resurrect, or did someone take his place? As always, God thought the Nubis and the Bastet are behind me, giving me truth, wisdom, and knowledge to hopefully unwind your brainwashing and indoctrination of the Catholic Church. As to let you guys know, I'm not religious. I'm out of the church. I'm focused more on my spirituality, and things to help ascend to the next level. So, my job is to show you in scriptures the contradictions, the mess, and it's totally BS. Like, we've got to get out of this. So, watch my part 1 and part 2 series, and this is part 3. So, go to Luke. Now, we've done Marcus first, Matthew is second, and Luke is third in the Synoptic Gospels. Okay? So, go to Luke chapter 23, and this is where this Pilate and Barabbas thing starts. Okay? So, these priests were saying that this Jesus guy was coming in and he was perverting their nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king. Well, first of all, in Mark and Matthew, he never said he was anything. Because Pilate was saying, well, how are you not saying nothing? You have all these people against you, and you're not saying anything. So now the Jews are saying that he is saying that he's calling himself Christ, and that the Israelites were saying that he's not wanting to give to Caesar. But it's funny because one of the scriptures, he says, give to Caesar what's Caesar and give to God what's God's. Okay, so whatever. I'm just trying to show you the bullshit in this. I mean, it's funny. So, moving on. Here we go. And Pilate asked him, saying, art thou the king of the Jews? And he answered him and saith, thou sayest it. It's kind of like being a smartass. Like, well, you say that I am. I guess I am. But not particularly straight at you with it. Now this, you need to listen to this very carefully, my friends. Then said Pilate to the chief priest and to the people, I find no fault in this man. You see, Rome, you could do whatever you wanted to. Worship whatever gods you wanted to, have whatever cult you wanted to, just so long as you didn't cause a problem, an insurrection, or you're going to fight against the Holy Roman Empire, which there's nothing holy about it. Christianity is paganism at its finest. It took everything from the pagan world and wrapped it up into a nice little Christmas present while they're chopping and murdering and killing innocent men, women, children under the cross. Now, verse 5. And they were the more fierce, saying, he stirreth up the people, teaching throughout all the jury, beginning from Galilee to this place. Well, Galilee was a insurrection, zealot, hot-ass bed in the first century. From the time of the 6th CE up until 70, there was messiahs coming out of the woodworks, people. Would the real Jesus please stand up? Watch that video and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked whether the man were a Galilean. Now that's stupid. So you're going to say, when Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked whether the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged into Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who himself was at Jerusalem at that time. And when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceedingly glad, for he was desirous to see him of a long season, because he had heard many things of him and hoped to have seen miracles. Then he questioned with him in many words, but answered him nothing. And the chief priest and scribe stood and vehemently accused him. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught and mocked him and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe and sent him again to Pilate. So it's this back and forth business. Okay, Herod's in the jurisdiction. Let's send him there. Jesus didn't say anything. I'm going to send him back to Pilate, which Rome was over everything. I mean, they had jurisdiction over everything. Now, verse 12. At the same day, Pilate and Herod were made friends together, for before they were at enmity between themselves. Now, I don't even know what the hell this has anything to do with the story, unless they had an underlying business deal. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. At the same day, Pilate and Herod were made friends together, for before they were at enmity between themselves. Okay, whatever. And Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, he said unto them, Ye have brought this man unto me as one that perverted the people, and behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man touching those things whereof ye accuse him. So Pilate is saying, I'm the big cheese. I'm the prefect over this. You're bringing me this petty bullshit, and I am looking at this going, da-da-da-da-da-da, and he says, I find no fault in this man. Nor yet Herod. So Herod's laughing. Now, we're not talking about Herod the Great. He's already dead. We're talking about Herod, his son. So don't get tripped up about Herod the Great. He's already dead. No, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. So Herod said there's nothing to worry about. There's no death need to come to this man. They sent him to Pilate. Pilate says, I find no fault in this man. He's not done anything. He's a walking Messiah, I mean, he's, doing this and he's doing that. I mean, hell, there was so many cults in the first century. I mean, ISIS cult. I mean, Roman and Greek gods floating all over the place. Serapis, cult of Serapis, which is Osiris. So, I mean, come on. Let's wake up. He said, I will. Now, this is Pilate. But this is a story. I'm just trying to show you this. I will therefore chastise him and release him. He's just going to whoop him and let him go. Now, if you read in Josephus's Antiquities, like I said, go look at my video, Will the Real Jesus Please Stand Up? Josephus talks about this guy, kind of like a Messiah guy, that did get scourged and whipped and he didn't say anything. You see how these stories of really, there's so many things that are wrapped up into all this. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and they made it into one big ass story. It's astrotheology, metaphysical, but they tried to make all this into a story. Now, not to say, possibly, could some people be writing about people in that time? And then the Roman Empire got into it with the Jewish scribes and or the Roman and Greek scribes and put in, astrotheology into it in a human character. It's not possible. It's possible. Now, so he says, I will therefore chastise him and release him. That's in verse 16. For of necessity he must release one unto them at the feast. That's 17. And they cried out all once, saying, Away with this man, and release unto us Barabbas, who was a certain sedition made in the city, and for murder was cast into prison. He was an insurrectionist. Pilate, therefore, willing to release Jesus, spoke again to them. Now in 16, he said, I will chastise him and release him. Then you go down to 20. He was willing to release Jesus, spake again to them, but they cried, saying, Crucify, 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 which Jews didn't crucify people. And he said unto them the third time, Why, what evil hath he done? I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. That's number 22, verse 22. So he's telling you in 16, I'm going to chastise them and release them. He said again in 19, willing to release. 22, I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. 23, and they were instant with loud voices, requiring that he might be crucified, and the voices of them and of the chief priests prevailed. Well, I don't believe that shit either, because the prefect was over all them. He was over Judea. And Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. And he released unto them him that for sedition and murder was cast into prison, whom they had desired. But he delivered Jesus to their will. Okay, so he released unto them Barabbas, right? The sedition and murder. And he delivered Jesus unto them. 26. So they delivered Jesus to them. But in 26 it says, and as they led him away, they laid hold. Now, in Mark and Matthew, it's saying that, as Jesus was going to carry his cross, that, the Roman people were saying to tell him, the Cyrenian, to bear Jesus' cross. But in 26 it says, now, Jesus was delivered, it says in 25. Pilate, but he delivered Jesus to their will. So Pilate gives Jesus to the chief priest. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon, a Cyrenian, coming out of the country, and on him they laid the cross, that he might bear it after Jesus. And there followed him a great company of people and of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Jesus turned unto them, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. So it goes on and on and on and on and on. There were in 32, and there were two malefactors led with him and put to death. And they were come to this place which is called Calvary, not Golgotha, and they were crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right, one on the left. And in 34 said, Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiments and cast lots. And the people stood, behold, and the rulers also with them decided him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if he be Christ, the chosen of God. And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, If thou be the King of the Jews, save thyself. Okay. And also saying that in 43 that he would see him in paradise. Okay. So it's kind of funny how when you look at Luke, Pilate, quote unquote, gives him to the Jews, the chief priests. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon, a Cyrenian, coming out of the country, and on him they laid the cross, that he might bear it after Jesus. So, you go to Mark, which was the first one. Chapter 15. And see how they play mind games with you. And Luke, they say to get the Simon of Cyrenian to bear the cross after Jesus, to bear it after Jesus. So that makes it look like Jesus might have been on the cross first, and then Simon bear it after him. But why in the hell would an innocent man of Simon get crucified? For what? Why would Simon get crucified if he's just carrying an innocent cross for somebody? Doesn't make sense. An innocent man getting crucified after Jesus for carrying his cross doesn't make sense. But if you go to Mark, it says to bear his cross. Simon was to bear Jesus's cross. And Mark, and let's see what he did here. Matthew, they compelled Simon to bear his cross. Luke, and in Luke, and on him they laid the cross that he might bear it after Jesus. But see, anytime you see italicized words, that means it was inserted after the original. So let's go to the original Greek. And let's go to Luke. If you go to BibleHub.com, all you have to do is put in the Synoptic Gospel chapter, and this is going to be 23. We're going to see what the original says. Sorry guys, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm trying to focus on this. That was verse 26. Woo! Okay. Let me just read this to you. Let me just show you how jacked up these people are. See, if you go to BibleHub.com, put in Luke 23:26, and you hit INT for, the Greek version, then you'll get the deal. Okay? So let's read what the English version says again. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon a Cyrenian, coming out of the country. And on him they laid the cross, that he might bear it after Jesus. You see, let's read the original Greek, what it says. And as they led away him, having laid hold on Simon, a certain of Cyrene, coming from the country, they put upon him the cross to carry behind Jesus. So it doesn't even say bear it after Jesus. All right, so all right. Now, what's really going to trip you out is what I have to tell you in Luke 24. But that's going to be in the next video. So, hope you've enjoyed this so far, guys. Keep up with watching Nurse J, and you might learn a little something. Like button, share and subscribe. Hotep and Ashe, and we'll see you in the next video.